about your progression now, 4 starts, and where do you feel like you've made
Sure.
the most improvement in your game?
I think I'm just feeling more comfortable with every start. You know, I got 2 road starts now the last 2 weeks, and I think it's just every time I go out there, I feel a little bit more comfortable. You know, and I get you know, even more time down my receivers that maybe I didn't get as much reps with in the beginning of the season. So that helps. Just, you know, whether it's you know, learning the playbook even in more depth, stuff like that. I think it's just experience and being able to go out there and play confidently.
Sean, from how hard was that to swallow Saturday, and how do you and help your teammates come back from that?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely tough. 4 overtime game. You know, I think the whole team fought as hard as, you know, we fought hard all the way to the end. And, you know, there's a few plays here and there that could, you know, that were the difference. And so that's tough to swallow. But we're going to bounce back from it fine, and we're going to get to work today at practice and, you know, put it behind us.
You played a game like that before?
Never 4 overtimes, no sir.
Sean, you said like put it behind you and stuff. Ricardo's one of those guys that just seemed really, really down after that game, and statistically he had a decent game and had some catches at the end during that drive.
Yes,
just talk about how you kind of tried to pick him up and make sure he's kind of focused for the rest
Yeah,
of
I
the
mean,
game.
he made a lot of good plays that, you know, put us in a position to win, and he's a great receiver, you know, and he'll use it as motivation. You know, I think he was down on himself after the game, but I think now he's ready to use it as motivation for the rest of the season. And like you said, I mean, he didn't even have that bad of a game, but he's hard on himself, and you know, he's going to be ready to go the rest of the season, and you know, and just keep making plays for us. I'm very confident in Ricardo.
Is there anything you said to him after the game when he was so down on himself there?
I mean, he was pretty down. You know, just you know, everybody on the team, really, myself included, just came up. You know, man, pick your head up. You know, you're like I said earlier. I mean, he was one of the reasons that we had a chance to win, and he's a great receiver, and we know he'll bounce back and make plays. There's no doubt in my mind about that.
Sean, 4 games into this, having probably not expected this, has it been what you thought it would be like playing in the SEC?
Yeah, I mean, I'm having fun. You know, obviously I wish we could have won a couple of those games, but no, I'm having fun playing with my teammates, playing for my coaches, and you know, like you said, playing in the SEC, especially as a redshirt freshman, it's been a blessing. And you know, I'm just trying to take everything in stride and try to keep learning and getting better. 'Cause that's what I have to do.
How much did your mentality have to change over the last month or so? Because it's one thing to say you're always ready for if something happens with starters and stuff, but once it becomes a reality, how much is the mentality?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's different, no doubt about it. When you're a starter, you just got to prepare. You know, you're watching that much more film. You know, preparing that much harder because you know that your team's counting on you as the quarterback. You know, it's probably one of the most important positions on the field, if not the most important. And you have to bring your A game every week for your team to succeed.
Does the no touchdown passes bother you at all?
No, I mean, they'll come when they come. I mean, that's not, as long as we're scoring points and scoring touchdowns, you know, that's what's important to me, and we're moving the ball effectively, and we're not turning the ball over, and that's kind of important.
What kind of a teammate is Gray King?
He's a great teammate. I mean, he's ready for his opportunity. It was his birthday last weekend, so it was pretty cool for him to get his first 2 catches on his birthday. And yeah, I mean, he just works hard every day. I mean, he doesn't have a scholarship, that's known, but he brings it every day like he does have one, like he wants to play and get on the field. And you can see he took advantage of his opportunity last Saturday.
Sean, when a season is not necessarily going the way that the team wants to go, you're looking for team leaders to stand up. It goes with the territory of being a quarterback and yet being young and still trying to find your place in that niche. How do you work that right now?
Right, that's a good question. I mean, as a quarterback, like you say, you have to be a leader, but you know, you don't want to step on the seniors' toes or anything like that. You know, so I mean, especially I didn't start out the season as a starter, so it's a little bit different. But at the same time, I feel as a quarterback, and you know, as I'm gaining my teammates' respect, I have to keep, you know, my leadership role has to increase the more that I play, and so I think that's something that you know has been increasing, and I'll continue to try to build that for my team.
What did you learn or experience from that last drive in that fourth quarter to kind of get the field goal?
Yeah, I mean, you know, with 50-some seconds left and no timeouts, I think it was big for our team to show, you know, we can. A lot of teams wouldn't have been able to do that, you know. So when we went down there and tied the game, and Daniel made a great clutch kick. He told me, you know, he said, you know, like I said after the game, get me close and I can make it. So I mean, Ricardo made some really good catches. The O-line did well protecting, and we got down there and scored, and you know, gave us a chance to go to overtime. So I think that was huge.
Sean, those drives late, particularly after, you know, I'm sure it was a little frustrating early on with some of those drop passes. As a new starter, what do you tell yourself in those moments that allows you to bounce back late and play like you did?
No, I mean, you just got to keep giving them the ball. I mean, like I encouraged him during the game, I'm going to keep coming to you. I'm going to keep throwing them to you. So, you have to just push it out of your head. Just like if I make a bad throw or throw an interception, you got to move on to the next play. And I think that's what they did, and that's what I try to tell them.
How tough is this Ole Miss defense?
Very good. Very talented. They're fast. They're experienced. They're a good defense, and we're going to have to play well.
Has Austin Golson mentioned anything about playing Ole Miss, his former team?
No, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I'm sure he's excited. I mean, he used to play there. I'm sure he's excited to play against his former teammates.
Sean, talking about the 2-minute drive as a quarterback, how much fun is that, and what's different about being in that 2-minute scenario where you're throwing every down,
Right.
3 or 4 wide receivers?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's fun. In my opinion, I think it's fun. The pressure's on for you to try to help your team to either tie or win the game. And, that's, as a quarterback, you like those situations. Those are situations where, you'd like to thrive in. And so it was fun. I mean, being down 3 points, I got my opportunity, and, luckily we were able to tie the game.
Sean, you weren't part of the team last year after you weren't part of the
Sure.
games where A&M and Georgia and whatnot, but from what you saw in the meeting rooms and obviously what happened, how do you know that kind of won't repeat itself, that carryover won't happen?
I just don't think. I just think. I think the experience last year helped. I mean, a lot of the guys were involved with that, and they saw how it affected them, and they're not going to let it happen again. And it's part. Also as the quarterback, it's my responsibility to, like when we go out there and practice today, to not let it happen. And we have to just go out and get ready for Ole Miss and put the game behind us, like Coach Malzahn said.
We'll do a few more.
There's never been so much expectation on Javon Robeson, and he hasn't been able to play a lot. What's he been like in practice in recent
I mean,
years?
he's still working very hard. I mean, he wants to get out there. He's struggled with like an injury earlier on. a new team. A lot, and the other running backs have been doing pretty well. So it's been a tough situation. But I'm sure it's been frustrating for him. But he's been working extremely hard in practice, and he's been a great team player, and he's ready to go if his name's called upon.
You happy to see Jeremy go out there and score the way he did?
Oh yeah, that was a big play, 4th down and goal for him to get in. It was huge for our team. I'm absolutely ecstatic for him. I love him to death, so I'm glad he got the chance and ran with it and got in the end zone.
You said you didn't want to. You said you don't want to step on the seniors' toes, but yeah, you have to lead as well. So how are you trying to balance that, not stepping on toes, but asserting yourself as a leader, as a quarterback?
Right. It's just you have to be smart into what kind of situations when you can lead. When the whole team's gathered up, sometimes it's your choice. It's your chance to be the leader. But sometimes if a senior's talking and he's got the team's attention, you're not just going to butt in and start. So, that's just you just kind of have to play it by ear and read the situation out.
How much have you grown from that first start against Mississippi State to where you're at now?
I think I've grown a lot. Just off experience, just off growing in the offense, chemistry with my teammates. I think I've grown a lot since then.
Talk about Jason Smith moving from quarterback to wide receiver, how he's doing. Could he be a bigger part of the offense down the
Sure. Yeah. I think he's going to have to be. He had a great game against Arkansas. I thought. He made the most of his opportunities. The play, the deep pass down the middle, he did a great job catching that. That was a big play in the game on that drive, and obviously he had the touchdown. So, and he had a catch in overtime. So all of his plays were coming in pretty crucial situations for us. And he's just got to continue to bring it every day in practice, and I know he will. That's one of my good friends, and he'll be ready to go.
How excited was he to get his first touchdown?
Well, I'm sure he was. He was very excited. He's like we're pretty far down the season. I think he thought it might have come earlier, but now that he's getting in a role and he's getting in a groove, I think he'll have a couple more.
You guys good?
Thank you.